double crochets. I'm going to start off with the half double crochet in a chain. I'm going to make 10 of them, so I've made 10 chains plus 2 more, so that's a total of 12 chains, okay, because we need 2 extra chains because we're going to skip the first 2. You'll see that here. What we're going to do is first slip a stitch marker onto the loop around the hook. So there we go. I've made 12 chains and I've added a slip marker onto the loop that's around the hook. And now what I'm going to do is yarn over and then skip the first 1, 2 chains. So I'm skipping 1, 2 chains, and I'm going to insert my hook in the back loop only of the 3rd chain. So here I go, back loop only of the 3rd chain, then yarn over and pull up a loop. And now there are 3 loops on my hook, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And you'll see there's a stitch marker at the very top of this first stitch that we made, and that is because we're going to need that when we come back the other direction, okay? So now we're going to continue making half double crochets in the next 9 chains here, the 9 chains we have left. So to do that, we start with a yarn over, insert the hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, and there are now 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. I'll show you that one more time. Yarn over, insert the hook into the next chain. We're going in just this back loop only. Yarn over, pull that through the chain, and there's now 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. There's another half double crochet. We're going to keep doing that all the way across. These chains that we skipped, we're not actually counting as a stitch for this, okay? So let's keep going across. Here we go. This is half double crochet number 10. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 half double crochets, and you can see if we count the top of the stitches, we're not counting the loop on the hook, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that one has the stitch marker in it, so we'll know when we've gotten to the end of the row. Now to turn, I like to remove my crochet hook, turn my work, put the hook back in. A lot of times when people start a new round or row of half double crochet, they'll start with a chain 2 and that will count as a stitch. I don't like to do that. It's too thin and makes weird holes and stuff, and if you don't count as a stitch, then it makes things thick and odd as well. So I do what I call a starting half double crochet. To do that, we're going to pull this loop up to about the height of a half double crochet, okay? So it's just a little loose. You see, we don't want too loose, and you'll kind of get the hang of it as you go. As you do this a few times, it'll start to work a little easier for you. Now you're going to want to put your finger on top of that loop, because if you don't do this, you'll lose things, okay? So just put your finger on top of that loop and hold it on tight. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your hook and you're going to spin it away from your work. So if you're right-handed, your work is hanging off towards your left and you're going to spin your hook towards your right. If you're left-handed, your work is hanging off towards your right and you're going to spin your hook towards the left. Okay, so here we go. We're going to spin our hook around our work and grab a loop from back here and spin it back to the front. Okay, let me show you that one more time. Okay, we have our hook. We're going to spin our hook away from our work, wrap it around to the back, grab the yarn, so we've made a kind of a yarn over, wrap the yarn back around, okay, and now you can see we have 2 loops on our hook, which is what we need when we start a half double crochet, right? So now all we're going to do is insert our hook under both of the top loops of the first stitch. There we go. We're inserting our hook under both of the top loops of the first stitch of this row, and now yarn over and pull that through the stitch only. That gives us 3 loops on our hook. And now we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And that has given us a starting half double crochet. Now what we want to do, so we know when we come back the opposite direction where to end the row, we're actually just going to put the stitch marker on top of the stitch we just made. So through the top 2 loops of the stitch we just made. Okay, so you can see we put it through the top 2 loops of the stitch we just made. And now here's the loop on our hook, and we're going to go ahead and make our next half double crochet. This is just a regular old half double crochet. We yarn over, insert the hook in the next stitch underneath both loops, yarn over, pull through those stitches, yarn over, pull through everything. Do that again, yarn over, insert the hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. There are 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And keep doing that all the way across. Okay, and now we've gotten to the point where the stitch marker is in the next stitch, right? And that means this will be the last stitch of our row. So we're going to yarn over, insert the hook into that last stitch that has the stitch marker in it, yarn over, pull through the stitch. There's 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through everything, and that is the last stitch of this row. So here you go, you can see we have that full row. And now we're going to remove this stitch marker, turn our work, and make our turning stitch again. So we pull up the loop, we wrap the hook all the way around, grab a loop, pull it back so that we have 2 loops on our hook, and then finish our half double crochet by inserting into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. So there's 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, and then don't forget to replace your stitch marker in the top loop of the stitch that you just made. There we go. And now we'll know when to end the row after this one, and this row will end when this is our last stitch. Okay, our last stitch has the stitch marker in it, so we're going to go ahead and place a half double crochet into the marked stitch. And there we go. We now have 3 rows of half double crochet. Nice and neat and pretty. Starting a new round of half double crochet, one thing you can do to make sure that you end the next round in the right place, in the correct place, is when you've made your last stitch of the round, go ahead and place a stitch marker at the top of the last stitch of the round. So just through both of the top loops of the last stitch of the round, there we go, that's the last stitch. So when we come back around, we know that's where we ended. Here is where we are starting. So you have 2 ways of joining. Well, I'm sure there's a lot more than 2 ways, but the 2 ways that I will usually do is either a slip stitch to join, where I insert my hook under the top 2 loops of the stitch, yarn over, pull through everything, and that's just a slip stitch to join. I kind of tighten that a little bit and then make the first stitch of my next round in here, which we'll go over that stitch in a moment. Or the other way that I do is the invisible join. So here we go again. We're at the point where we need to join, and what I do for the invisible join is I remove my hook from my loop. I insert the hook through the center of the stitch I'm joining to and just go underneath the back loop only. And then I put that loop back on my hook, the one I let go of before, and I pull that through the back loop of the stitch. And now I'm just going to get rid of this stitch marker. And now I'm going to make my first stitch of the row, of the round, through both of these loops. So the loop I went under, and this was the front loop there. Okay, so I'm going to make the same sort of starting half double crochet as I would have made for a row, which means we just kind of pull this loop up a little bit so it's about the height of a half double crochet. Place my finger on the top of it, and I wrap my hook around towards my dominant hand, wrap it all the way around, grab a loop of the yarn and wrap it back to the front again. So there's now 2 loops on my hook. Now we're going to insert our hook through both of the top loops of that first stitch of the round. So we have the front and the back loop we just went underneath. Yarn over, pull up a loop. There's 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and now there is your starting half double crochet. Now you can mark the top of that. We have our stitch marker on the top of our first stitch, and now we're just going to half double crochet all the way around. Now you can see we're about to make our last stitch into the last stitch of the round. We can tell that it's the last stitch of the round because we put that stitch marker there. So we're going to go ahead and make a half double crochet into that very last stitch, and go ahead and remove the stitch marker. Now again, you can place the stitch marker now on top of the last stitch you just made, so that next time you know. Now we're going to join this round. So again, you can make the slip stitch by going through both loops, going under both of the top loops of the first stitch of the round, yarn over, pull through everything, and that is your slip stitch, and then follow your directions from there. Or we can do the join with the more invisible join. We remove the hook from the loop, go under just the back loop of the first stitch of the round, grab the loop back onto our hook, pull that through so the loop is coming out of the center of our stitch, and now we make the first stitch of the next round, which in this case is going to be our standing half double crochet, where we just place our finger on top of this slightly lengthened loop, wrap the hook around towards our dominant side, our dominant hand, grab the yarn from the back, wrap everything back to the front again. So there's 2 loops on your hook. Insert our hook under the front and back loop of that first stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop. There are the 3 loops on our hook. And yarn over, pull through everything, and that is the first stitch, the first half a double crochet of our next round. And we're going to go ahead and again half double crochet all the way around, join again, and you can just keep on going from there.